Good afternoon, boys and girls. Welcome to today's lesson with me, Coach Matt. Apologies for the delay, guys. A little bit of technical difficulties there, but everything is all sorted. I hope you guys are keeping warm. Hope you guys have been practicing your chess. Hope you guys have just overall been looking after yourselves. I think, yeah, we all need to just try and do the best that we can in these difficult times. And I think we've just got to keep our heads up, stay positive, and just be aware of that, you know. Anyway, guys, thank you to you for being on time today. I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll and learn some new things on the chessboard. All right, let's start off with an easy one today. Guys, just log into the Lichess here. I see quite a few of you in the Zoom, but seems like the Lichess is pretty vacant. So let's do that, please. Just remember, if you're struggling to find it, you just go search. I would just search this whole sector. You've got the date here as well. Make it easy for you to find it. All right, go ahead and do that. In the meantime, those of you following via the shared screen, it's all good. Just remember, you can use the Zoom chat if you're struggling with the Lichess. All right, guys, white to play and win. I'll help you with the first one. Let's win this queen. Nice, easy one just to warm up. A little discovered check. We've been looking a lot at discovered checks, discovered attacks, and double attacks in general. It's sort of been a feature of late. And always a very useful one to use in your chess game. So make sure that you don't miss these opportunities whenever they present themselves on the board. In any case, white to play. Let's pick up the black queen. A nice little tactic here. Who's got the goods? Come on, guys, don't be shy. Get involved. We've had this chat before. There's definitely no prizes for sitting quietly and not responding. So you'll also learn more, you know. Interactive learning is definitely better. Even if you get it wrong, so what? Zach comes up with the gold. Good man. All right, knight c5. I'm going to jump right into it. Jason, thank you. Pawn c3. Not bad. I suppose he's attacking the center. Look, I mean, if I was just to glance at as a quick move, I'd probably think queen takes d4. You want to be greedy. I'm always promoting greedy chess. Greedy chess is good chess. You want to try and take as many of your opponent's pieces as quickly as possible. So I'd probably gobble this right up, and then if I was just in a rush, like I had to make a quick move, and I'd probably miss this golden opportunity. Pawn to c3 is okay, normally used to help us attack the center, but I like the fact that we have a free piece here. And I did advertise the discovered check. So wherever I move this knight, it'll be checked with the rook. So I think I need to take advantage of that. I need to try and find a way. I'm always looking, I'm like, where can I move my knight where I can do some damage? I want to try and move the knight and do some damage at the same time. This doesn't do much. This, on the other hand, Zach, is doing some good work. It attacks the queen, it checks the king, and you can just imagine whether you block the check, whether you move the king away. I am going to grab this queen, and I'm going to do it immediately. Queen e6 doesn't change the game much. White just goes knight takes e6. So it's not like you're like, no, I'd rather move queen here so that I can get the rook for the queen and it's a better trade. Not exactly. It doesn't make any difference. White's still just going knight takes or knight takes, excuse me. Fantastic. Quickly solved as well. Lovely stuff. That's what I like to see, guys. Let's move. All right, so here we've got some nifty little tricks. Certainly, white looks like they've managed to generate a massive attack onto black's king side. You can see that king in a lot of trouble here. And your clue is to try and get these pieces to coordinate together to do some damage to this king on h7. I don't want to give away too many clues for this one. It's also not too bad. I don't think you guys are going to struggle too much. Let's see if we can solve this one and solve it quickly and correctly. All possible checks, all possible takes must be investigated. So sometimes you see a move and it just sort of stands out and you're like, yeah, I like that. Must investigate it. I think you've all had that in this position. You've seen something that's interested you and you're like, well, I need to sort of see what this brings me. I think there's a number of combinations, quite honestly, that look like they work in this position. Almost looks a little bit too easy, in my opinion. Too easy for you guys, at least. Knight g5 and then rook g8. Knight g5. I'm thinking he meant knight h5, perhaps. Thank you, Byron. Appreciate your input. Knight g5 and rook g8. So I mean, I like rook g8. Rook g8 could be useful. I'm just worried that there's too many pieces targeting that square, and then knight g5 obviously not possible. Maybe knight h5. That's cool. Something that I want to bring to your guys' attention, and we can address this right now, is that wherever this knight moves, there's a discovered attack on h6. So the queen leaps into the action, which is one of the problems that we have why we're not able to sort of create a mating attack on the black king, is because we're having some difficulties bringing the queen in. But yes, that's a sort of wink wink there. Wherever the knight moves, you are creating a discovered attack on the h6 knight. Come on, guys. I'm hearing crickets. Who's got the goods? What do we do here? What I would like you guys to practice also in these sort of situations is, if you can't find the best move, you're like, nah, I can't find a winning combination. I can't find something that I'd happily put my name on, then just give me a move that you'd play in this position. I'm like, okay, well, I need to move this knight. It's under attack. I'm going to move the knight. I'm going to go like Byron said, knight h5, something to that effect. Thank you, Zach. Knight takes d5. Ooh, it's a solid move by the young man. Very nice. I'm going to have a look. And then Dan also. Very nice, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm assuming that's Daniel. All right, nice. Guys, thank you very much. Like I said, get involved. Get involved. It's better for you. It's better for me. It's better for everybody involved. All right. So knight takes d5. Both of those are moves recommended by both boys. Knight takes d5 is a stunner. That definitely needs an exclamation mark. Thank you, Jason. Thank you. So exclamation mark for good move. Like I've showed you before, these are all annotations that I feel like Lichess does very, very nicely, because it's very descriptive here. Double question mark being a blunder, very bad move. Double exclamation mark being a brilliant move, an outstanding move. So, and these sort of explain to you, if you guys ever read chess books and you sort of see the annotations that are there, this sort of gives a nice clear picture. So in any case, knight takes d5, exclamation mark, an outstanding move, really. It's creating an attack on this queen, and most importantly, it opens up the threat onto h6. So from here, I don't really see any way that black can go about trying to survive this position. I guess it's possible that they could try something like queen f8. I think that's probably the best move. So knight d5, queen f8. Of course, just in case anyone was wondering, after pawn takes, Queen takes h6 is mate. So a very, very real threat there. So knight d5, queen f8. Obviously, the plan is to defend h6 and not get mated. Nobody wants to get mated. And then there's a nice little hidden trick here, which I'm not sure if you guys would have seen, but I'm going to just spoiler alert here. So rook takes h6. And the idea is, well, I'm going to pull this queen out. And now there's another little tactic involved here. I'm going to let somebody jump on it quick. White to play, winning move, elimination of the defense. The king is defending the queen. Can we eliminate the defender in this position and afterwards claim the victory? Who's got the move? Who's got the move? We need to eliminate the defender on h7. Let's get that king out of there. Some way, somehow, needs to be done. Come on, guys. Easy move. Very, well, not too easy, but easy enough. Thank you, Dan. Knight takes f5. Now, I'm not sure if he meant knight takes f6 or if he meant bishop takes f5. You see, this is the problem when the notation's a little bit off, and you guys can sort of appreciate that. You'll be like, I'm not sure which one. Bishop f5 was the move I was looking for. He is thinking about taking f6. Now, taking f6, I kind of like it. I mean, the knight's coming in. The knight was attacked on this square, so it looks good. I'm just a little worried that they're taking back. It just seems a little bit too easy for my liking. My plan was I wanted to try and get this king to move. That's really what the elimination of the defense theme is all about. It's about eliminating or removing the defender. So in this case, the defender is the king, and he's defending the queen. So if I can get this guy to move somehow, some way, then there'll be nobody defending the queen, and I will happily help myself. So bishop takes f5 is the move. It attacks the king. Queen g6 isn't much help because either rook or bishop can just simply take. That's no use. So king h8, and then queen takes h6, delivering a check. No availability on the g file. Rook's got to go to h7, and queen takes h7, delivers the final blow. As you can see, guys, we are trying to step up the difficulty level a little bit, but I think you guys are up to the challenge. So let's be mindful of that, and let's try and do this thing. Okay, so that was it. Knight takes d5. Just to go back, I want to move on, but I just want to mention this. I think you can probably just take rook h6 anyway. I don't think it's quite as potent. But I think it's winning nevertheless. Yes, I'm sacrificing rook for knight. You're going to tell me, wait a second, didn't you tell us the rook's worth 5 and the knight's worth 3? I absolutely did. The knight is less valuable, so I am losing 2 points in theory here, but there's a combination to follow. So now the king is in this line. Okay, so that's what I forced, essentially. So wherever I move this knight again, it's that same discussion as previously. Where can I do damage with the knight? Well, d5 and g6. Why? Because I'm targeting this queen. So I start looking around. Where can I go with this knight to hunt down some big pieces? Oh, wait a second. There's a queen right there. Knight takes d5. It's check. It's like, ooh, ouch. Okay, so you've got to move out of the check. Maybe you could block the check, I guess, in theory. Probably not a bad idea. But I'm grabbing the queen nevertheless. And then they'll take the knight. And then from here, you're like, okay, I mean, pretty tough spot for black. I think there must be a number of ways to mate. My first thought, something like queen d3, and then I started looking at sort of the vulnerability along this diagonal. But queen g2 also looks pretty amazing, because I'm just going to take full control of the G file. Now I'm threatening queen G6. And I'm not sure if it's really stoppable. I'm going to try to run, I guess, but I think you're still getting mated, no doubt. Something like this. So the king is on the run, ladies and gentlemen, and he's not going to make it. So very vulnerable and pretty much dead in the water. Okie dokie. So let's see what we can come up with here. New exercise, new story. We can see this is a very scary diagonal, looking quite potent. There's also an attacker. It looks a little flimsy, this bishop. You're like, well, there's only the one defender who's also defending the G7 square. It's sort of hanging on by a thread almost, as it were. Look, a natural move in this position. Nobody would fault you for playing something like rook a d1, targeting the d6. It seems like black's not really got any threats that you need to be sort of aware of. This check does nothing. You just pop to h1. It seems like you're okay there. Guys, who can come up with a nice idea? Let's just focus on these two squares and realize that the queen is a little bit overloaded here. It's sort of, the queen's got a little bit too much on her plate. Maybe we can find a way to take advantage of this. b4. B4, maybe b5, maybe c5. We're already on b4. Thank you, Daniel, for the input. Always appreciated. Yeah, b5, it attacks the bishop. I'm kind of happy with that. I guess the bishop would probably just run back. Not a bad move. Perhaps not the best move, but a nice try nevertheless. Guys, I want to bring something to your attention, something crazy. This is the right move. Rook takes d6. Again, you're like, wait a minute, isn't that bishop defended? It is defended, but there's more to the story, as I was already mentioning to you guys. So if white plays rook takes d6, it's natural, and sort of the only way black could hope to sort of refute that move would be to take. I mean, if he leaves it, you picked up a free bishop, and you're like, well, that's just awesome. I mean, like, for instance, rook d6. If black continues in some other fashion, by moving the queen or the rook or whatever the case, you could probably just defend this rook. And then from there, I think you can do just about anything. So even c5 after that looks like it's possible. So, of course, we've just picked up a free bishop, and we will be quite happy with that, I think. So what I need you guys to find is what happens after the queen takes the rook. Because now there's a consequence. There's a consequence to taking that move, and it's a nasty one, actually. Black should probably just leave that rook alone because it backfires in a nasty fashion for him if he does grab that rook on d6. Who's got it? Who's got it? Come on, boys. Boys and girls. Who's got the moves? So we're analyzing after queen takes d6. What happens? Bishop g7. Justin comes up with a gold. All right. So what I want is I want the next move. So bishop g7, well spotted. Very, very nice. So bishop g7 is happening. The king has to go to g8. Yes, you can take this, but there's a better move. What is it? There's a powerhouse. A crusher. Woohoo! Zach comes up with it. That's good teamwork, guys. Nice group effort there. Like what I'm seeing. C5, solid stuff. Very, very nice. Byron, thank you for that as well. So C5, we got again a discovered check. So you see the queen pays the price. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's cool. And C5, let's hope that goes away in just a moment. That's cool. And what's he gonna play here? I think let's just get back to this. Probably has to go queen d5. And then it looks like I just take this, really. Bishop takes, probably bishop takes. Okay. Just want to see something. We are now threatening the mate here, so he probably has to take this. I kind of just want this thing to go away now. It's hiding. It's to stay. It's here to stay, guys. All right. So yeah, that's it. Fantastic. So rook d6, queen has to take. Bishop g7 forces king g8. c5, a discovered check. Very potent. Very, very potent. I was just trying to see if I can find any better solution for black other than queen d5. Because queen d5, yeah, can't be considered very good, right? You're like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But bishop d5 is worse. Rook d7 is worse. And then rook f7, I should say, rather. C takes d, and that is that. All right. So this, why is it? Okay. Let's move on. All right, last exercise for the day, guys. I'm going to highlight this bishop. I'm going to highlight this bishop, and I'm going to point out that he wants to control some key squares along this diagonal. Okay, so we've done very well so far. Let's see who can come up with the goods here and find a way to punish black. Come on, there's a few of you who haven't said too much in the chat so far. Let's get involved, guys. E6, then rook h8. That is top class from Byron. I love that. Check this out, guys. So e6 hits the queen. You've got to do something about it. There is a solution. I think there's an improvement on this move. We'll get to that in a minute. Because if they go knight takes, because this is Byron's idea, knight takes and then rook h8. Boom. Classy stuff. The bishop defends the rook. And this is actually mate because you can't touch, you can't go here, you can't, oopsie daisy, a bit of a skew one, can't go there and can't go there. Mate, ouch, 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 ouch. But, there's a but. Queen takes e6. Now rook h8. It looks like there's king f7. And you're like, oh no, is he escaping? And I fear that he is escaping, guys. I'm not sure if there's going to be a way to mate him from here. It looks like he's on the run. He's got too many available squares. Rook check is failing. There's knight h7. So it doesn't seem like there's any way. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this magnificent idea, and this is often the case. What happens is you've got a great idea, right? And then it doesn't work for whatever reason. So the next thing you need to do in those situations is play with the move order. So in this case, the plan was to go e6 followed by rook h8. So now you're like, okay, what if I tweak that move order ever so slightly? And what if I play rook h8 first? Okay. You're like, but that's just a dumb move. He just takes your rook, isn't it? Well, now I've got e6 with check. and then I'm attacking the queen at the same time. And you're like, ooh, that kind of looks interesting, right? Because now it looks like I'm winning a queen, because maybe it has to go queen, oh, sorry, queen f6, you'll just drop the queen. Queen g7 seems to make the most sense, because at least then you get a bishop as well. Then bishop g7, king g7. And okay, still lost some material. I think the queen dropped for the rook and the bishop. We know rook and the bishop, it's 8 points for the queen, which is 9. So still a good trade, still a positive trade. And we know the powers of the queen. I know you guys all love snatching a queen off your opponent's board. It's always a good feeling, and generally leads to a victory. I suppose that's why. So king h8, e6, and that'll be the ball game. Just remember this one. I think you come up with a nice idea. If it fails for whatever reason, play with the move order a little bit, and you might find that you're able to come up with a good move, or come up with the right way to make that work out. Let's move on to our final chapter for the day, an endgame study. Guys, if you look at this position, it's rook against bishop and 2 pawns, but you guys will be well aware that that is equal. You're like, well, that's 5 points for 5 points. Okay, cool. But, and here's a big but, it feels like Black is certainly better. He's got the 2 pawns, and he has the ability to promote, which is definitely going to make life a little bit tricky for the white pieces. So we're going to play through this one together. Technically, this position is drawn if if white plays flawlessly, which is quite tricky to do. I'm going to show you both versions of that. So we need to get on with it a little bit here. So a2, of course, I'm going to push a2. I want to get my pawn as far. I also want to get onto the light squares so that I have the ability to defend that pawn if necessary. If you're sitting on the dark square, you can certainly see that's going to be an issue. Rook a1, and suddenly I'm dropping the pawn. It's like, what? I'm dropping my potential queen. Definitely not going to be happy with that. This is what's going to win me the game. Another good point there. Pawns, potential queens in the end game, especially your pass pawns. And you know, the closer they get to the promotion square, the more valuable they become. So I mean, this guy, yeah, sure, I'd definitely rather lose this one than this one, because this one's on the verge of promoting. So a2, and the threat created in this position is actually one that's quite nasty, and a nice one to show you guys. So if king f4, which attacks the bishop, bishop b1, which is a crusher, because now you're like, how am I stopping them from promoting? And the point is, you're not. There's no way that white can now prevent black from promoting. You can throw in a check, shouldn't matter. I can probably go to either one of these 2 squares, and no more checks, and this is happening next, and black wins. Ouchies. So let's retract. White's like, no, not going to have that. Rook a1 first. Let me blockade this little plan. Now what? Black's going to go bishop b1 in any case. So what have I've kind of caged this rook in this position. The bishop and pawn defend one another, and the rook's not going anywhere. So I suppose there's a couple ways that you might try and win this with black. Option A is I'm just going to go run at this rook. Just going to run straight at this rook. And the more I look at it, I think that might be the simplest option. There's another one where I can slowly but surely march the king and the pawn up the board and force the king to this square. And at the right time, pull the bishop back, deliver a check, and probably end up promoting. But I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, well, why don't I just... I'm going to go here just to make it a little bit more difficult for them. I just want to make sure he's not going to catch me. I don't think he will. See, if he can blockade me, I think he'll be 1 square too late. But if he can get to this square, then it'd probably be a draw. But he can't. And I'm just going to promote, which is quite nifty. No, I found a flaw with this plan, you see, because now you think you're going to win, and then bam, he takes the pawn, and now it's king and bishop, which means we end up drawing this game. Bit of a sneak. So you see, it's never over till it's over, and it's another very important lesson. So we're going to actually have to go with the original plan. which is h5, king g5. Notice most of these times it will be drawn if you don't have other pieces on the board, but fortunately here we do, so we shouldn't have too much difficulty winning this position. So timing is everything, guys. I think if you play here, it's going to be a draw. So this is quite, yeah, this is sneaky, because if you play h2, it's a stalemate position, but it's not stalemate because the rook can move. No, I think you still win. I think you still win. I thought the rook can take this. Check this out. Rook takes pawn. If the bishop takes, it's stalemate and it's a draw. And you're like, oh. But the bishop can come e4 and deliver a check. And the rook has to go to g2. Bishop takes g2 mate, which is quite amazing. Quite amazing. So guys, in-game studies. In games, they're simple but complex. It's like there's only a couple pieces, but there are tons of little intricacies and subtleties that are hidden in the positions. And I think the main point here is use your pieces, think carefully, and be cautious, and just understand that the end game, there's still a lot of chess to be played. Don't just think, oh, it's basically the end, you know, I got this. You've still got to keep your wits about you and stay focused. All right, guys, that concludes today's lesson. Let's use the next half an hour or so. I'll be online here. Let's use it to play some chess, please. Let's stick to the 15-minute time controls. Guys, I'm really happy to see that a lot of you are exploring the different variations of chess, like 3-check and Crazy House and what's it, King of the Hill, and these other strange ones. One that I would recommend if you're looking for a bit of a variant on your standard chess games is Chess 960. Now, Chess 960 is just the pieces at the back are all jumbled up. For now, that's all you really need to know about that. So it's not the standard starting position that you guys are used to. So if you want to mix it up a little bit and try a bit of Chess 960, I'd encourage you to do that. Just remember, pop onto the main menu here, and 15 plus 10, that's the one you want to give a go. I think that's the best. It's probably the best time control that will suit everybody. That way it's not too fast, and it's also not going to take you the whole day. You can get through a couple games and without it sort of taking up too much time. Guys, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. Please get on with some chess practicing now. We'll see you guys again soon. Until next time, bye-bye.